You know, the Fox body Mustangs were the most popular Mustangs made. They made these things for almost 15 years. They made them from 1979 to 1993. This is the most popular body style that they made. It's a cool looking body style. It doesn't have too much of the original Mustang body styling cues on it, but it's a cool looking body style just the same. One of the things that they did with this body style is they took the weather strip for the door and moved it and put it on the body of the car. So by doing that, they tend to wear out more. Well, I'm going to show you how to replace one of those weather strips. Let's take a look. On the original Mustangs, say the 64 to 73 cars, the door weather strip actually traveled and was attached to the door itself. So when you shut the door, that's where you got your seal. On this body style Mustang, they took the weather strip and they moved it on the body itself. So the opening is where they put the weather strip. Not a bad idea. The only downfall is that it tends to wear out more. You get in and out of the car and you kick the weather strip. It tends to get caught on things as you put stuff in the back of the car. So there are some shortcomings on putting the weather strip on this side of the car as opposed to on the door side of the car. But we're going to show you how to replace this weather strip. It's pretty easy to do. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the screws that travel along the scuff plate itself, this plastic panel down here. Once you take those 3 screws out, then towards the back seat area here, what you have is a seat belt that you'll have to loosen and take off also. And you'll need like a Torx bit, what's referred to as a Torx bit, to take that off of there. Once you remove that, there'll be a series of screws that hold the interior trim panels together. You take those out because you'll need to loosen those because they're holding the weather strip in also. And then there's a small panel that goes across the top of the opening, the door opening itself, that is basically just snapped into there. You'll take that off too. Once you do that, then you'll start pulling your weather strip out, piece by piece. Here you got your new weather strip against your old weather strip. This is a really nice reproduction here. I was comparing these earlier, and they are like spot on what they do. The other thing I like about this company that supplied this to us is that it's a little bit longer than what you need. You know, sometimes they give you exactly what you need, and cars have different variances on their tolerances. So you end up being short, which is not a good thing. This company here gave us a few inches more, probably about a good foot more of what we need, so we'll be able to really tailor it to the car we have here. Now this here has got a metal reinforcement inside it. And the reason why it has a metal reinforcement in there is because it's supposed to hug and snap along the pinch weld of the opening of this door jamb here. So it's important that it would be metal reinforced, meaning that when we get to the end there, we're going to have to use a pair of tin snips to cut it with. But let me show you how it snaps into place. Now I normally start in an area up over here, because you're going to end up with a seam. When you come around, there's going to be a seam that's going to butt up against one another. Well, you know, Ford originally had the seam over here. I've seen them over there. I've actually seen them all over the place. And it's kind of unsightly to open the door and you got this seam right there. So I kind of put it in a little bit more of a hidden spot over here. It's where I start. But you'll take your weather strip and you'll just kind of snap it onto the opening of where the old one came off. And then work your way up. It really goes right into place. I tell you what, I'm really satisfied with this company that sent me these weather strips. I get so much stuff that's garbage sent to me, and this is really good stuff. You just work it along, make sure you're snapping it in there. Now, it's important that you really push on it, because if you don't, it'll eventually shrink back and then just start hanging on you. And the whole idea here is to make for a good seal of the car, especially in them corners. Get those corners down in there. Work your way across the sill over here. And then up towards where you started. Now at this point, what I'll do is I'll kind of take my tin snips and make a good mark about an inch above where the other seam ends. And like I say, what that will allow me to do is have a nice little overlap. Push it underneath the other weather strip like that. It'll help hide the seam and also force it one inside the other. Now, since we have that overlap right there, when this does eventually shrink, and it will shrink, it won't shrink to the point where they'll separate and there'll be an opening there. It'll just shrink to the point where they'll still be together. So now you'll just kind of push all your original trim panels back in place, put your screws back in where they came out, and now you have a nice tight seal. Nice. Real nice. That's the way I'd want the door to shut on my Fox body. It'll be a little bit difficult for you to shut the door at first. You might have to slam it a bit because you do have that new weather strip on there, so it is going to try and crush it. But over time, that'll get easier for you to do. You might want to put a little armor or a little dressing on the new weather strip. That'll help preserve it over time. But short of that, it's pretty maintenance-free. I like what I see. It's a great product.